Hi everyone, and welcome to Truth Over News. Trump's former Attorney General Bill Barr has been in the news quite a bit lately. He recently stated that investigations of the bribery allegations regarding Joe Biden contained within the now infamous FBI 1023 are still ongoing. But Barr has also been in the news for his criticism of former President Trump's handling of classified documents, telling Fox News that Trump was not a victim. In fact, Barr has made the same claims in a number of interviews, including CBS's Face the Nation, where he said Trump was a fundamentally flawed person who engages in reckless conduct. Strong criticism from a man who called himself Trump's biggest defender. Trump fired back, of course, calling Barr a lazy attorney general who was totally weak and ineffective. In this escalating war of words, we decided to take a closer look at Barr's actions as attorney general.
Yes, he's been a victim in the past. Yes, his adversaries have obsessively pursued him with phony claims, and I've been at his side defending against them when he is a victim. But this is much different. He's not a victim here. He was totally wrong that he had the right to have those documents. Those documents are among the most sensitive secrets that the country has. They have to be in the custody of the archivist. He had no right to maintain them and retain them. And he kept them in a way at Mar-a-Lago that anyone who really cares about national security, their stomach would churn at it.
It's worth reminding everyone that in the past, Barr appeared to be one of the president's biggest supporters. Barr, who had served as an attorney general in the early 90s, came out of private practice to return to the role in February 2019 and played a significant part in helping to disprove and mitigate allegations of Russia collusion during his oversight of the pre-existing and deeply flawed Mueller investigation. Indeed, Barr's most significant achievement was probably his role in the final stages of Mueller's investigation, when he concluded that the evidence developed by the special counsel was not sufficient to establish that the president had committed an obstruction of justice offense. In taking that action, he took an incredible amount of heat from Democrats who were furious. But after the Mueller investigation, a series of curious missteps then followed. Trump found himself impeached by the House in December 2019, despite evidence within the DOJ that might have prevented the politically driven result. Indeed, George Kent, the deputy chief of mission in Kiev, wrote an email stating that he had been told by Ukraine's deputy prosecutor general that Burisma had paid a $7 million bribe to Ukraine's chief prosecutor's office to end the investigation into Zlochevsky. That information was not made public during Trump's impeachment trial, despite the fact that at the time of that bribe, Hunter was in charge of the company's legal affairs. It now appears that Trump was impeached simply because he was making inquiries into the very real crimes of Joe Biden in Ukraine. Said a bit differently, Trump may have been effectively impeached for being right about Joe Biden. Another area of disappointment surrounding Barr was the investigation supposedly being conducted by U.S. Attorney John Huber, an investigation which disappeared altogether. In May 2019, Barr suddenly confirmed earlier reports that there had been a transition in Huber's responsibilities. Huber had other issues he's been working on that relate to Hillary Clinton, said Barr, who noted that those are winding down and hopefully will be in a position to bring those to fruition. But 7 months later, in January 2020, it was reported that the Huber investigation had effectively ended with no tangible results. This was coupled with reports that current and former law enforcement officials said they never expected the effort to produce much of anything. Trump tweeted about Huber's investigation on several occasions, asking whatever happened to John Huber in May 2020, and later stating that Huber did absolutely nothing. On February 9, 2020, neocon Lindsey Graham appeared on Face the Nation, telling Margaret Brennan that, "I think questions about the conflict of interest regarding Hunter Biden in the Ukraine need to be asked." The State Department had warnings and they ignored the conflict of interest. Graham noted that if Rudy Giuliani has any information coming out of the Ukraine, he needs to turn it over to the Department of Justice because it could be Russian propaganda. Graham also said he had contacted Attorney General William Barr about the matter and said that the DOJ was receiving information coming out of the Ukraine from Rudy to see. Graham said that Barr had told him that they've created a process that Rudy could give information and they would see if it's verified. Although we didn't know it at the time, Graham was indirectly referencing the assessment process established by Barr regarding the allegations of bribery now surrounding Joe Biden. On the day following Graham's interview and during a press conference in which Barr announced charges against 4 members of the Chinese military, he was asked about Graham's comments and acknowledged that he had spoken to Graham about the matter. Barr also said that an intake process had been established for any information received by the DOJ on Ukraine. Barr said that we have to be very careful with respect to any information coming from the Ukraine because there are a lot of agendas in the Ukraine. There are a lot of cross-currents, and we can't take anything we receive from Ukraine at face value. It was for that reason, Barr said, that he had established an intake process in the field so that any information coming in about Ukraine could be carefully scrutinized by the department and its intelligence community partners so that we could assess its provenance and its credibility. Make what you will of those statements. But just a few months later, on May 15th, Barr sent a memo to all DOJ employees telling them that partisan politics must play no role in the decisions of federal investigators or prosecutors regarding any investigations or criminal charges. Barr stated that law enforcement officers and prosecutors may never select the timing of public statements, investigative steps, criminal charges, or any other action in any matter or case for the purpose of affecting any election or for the purpose of giving an advantage or disadvantage to any candidate or political party. Now, at the time, this was seen as a good thing, given the leaks and announcements that surrounded Trump's administration early on. But then, during a May 18th news conference, Barr surprised everyone by announcing that Durham's investigation wasn't focused on either Barack Obama or Joe Biden. Barr told the assembled media that, as to President Obama and Vice President Biden, whatever their level of involvement, based on the information I have today, I don't expect Mr. Durham's work will lead to a criminal investigation of either man. Our concern over potential criminality is focused on others. At the time, we found Barr's statements rather strange, given that we knew both men were involved. In his book, Barr revealed that he made that statement in response to a series of tweets by Trump. A week earlier, Trump had started using the term Obamagate on Twitter, alleging that both Obama and Biden had led the charge on the FBI's phony Russiagate investigation. Barr recounts in his book that he felt it was unacceptable for Trump to attempt to drag his presidential election opponent into the Russiagate scandal, and that Barr felt that it was incumbent upon him to make a public statement. Of course, the corporate media immediately seized upon Barr's statement, with the Washington Post running a same-day headline saying that Barr says he does not expect Obama or Biden will be investigated by a prosecutor reviewing 2016 Russia probe. The New York Times headline went further, claiming that Barr dismisses Trump's claim that Russia inquiry was an Obama plot. In our opinion, Barr's May 18th claim is an often underappreciated statement, the fallout of which was felt throughout the 2020 presidential election. Although Barr now claims that he issued his statement from a position of fairness, what he actually did was insert himself and the Department of Justice into the presidential election. And in doing so, he set the stage for the media's whitewashing of questions of corruption that swirled around Biden throughout the campaign.